Hey, good morning. Let's go over today's trade plan. So in the overnight session, we've seen that sellers have been more dominant and active overnight, and at this point, ES is trading near the bottom of the short-term balance at 99.75 to 2101.75. As long as ES holds above this area, the buyers can technically still step in, but a break below 99.75 to 2101.75 would mark a break below a multi-day balance, which can result in long liquidation down to 90.75 to 92.75, which is a support spot where we can still see a tradable reaction. It doesn't mean that the selling has to shut off at 90.75 to 92.75. That's something we'll have to gauge in real time based on the level of weakness we're seeing on the advanced decline and how the volume situation and the momentum situation is shaping up intraday. So if we're going down on heavy volume, heavy momentum, and the other markets are selling off as well, then again, we don't have to stop at 90.75 to 92.75, but that is a important inflection point, and at the very minimum, we can expect a reaction at that zone. Now, if we hold at the initial support zone, 99.75 to 2101.75, then buyers still have a shot at stepping in. If we look at the other markets and QNTF, they are still holding up relatively well compared to the S&P. So, right now we are still within a short-term balance area and we're trading near the lows of it. So, until it breaks that support zone at 99.75 to 01.75 is still going to be intact, and it's a spot where buyers can technically still defend. And from here on the upside, we're going to be using 05.5 to 07.5 as the micro bull bear zone. It doesn't mean that the bias is necessarily bearish below 05.5 to 07.5, because bigger picture, we are in an uptrend, and if we get a nice buy response at initial support, then 05.5 to 07.5 is an inflection point, but it doesn't mean that we are bearish below this area, but a break and a hold above 05.5 to 07.5 would confirm the buy side back in control. So right now we're essentially stuck in balance, and if the buyers step in here and we see a breakout above 05.5 to 07.5, that would confirm that the buyers are in firm control, and then from there we could go up to 10.75 to 12 quarter and 14.75 to 16.75, and potentially even tag the all-time high. So at that point the buyers would be in control, so you'd want to be careful and cautious on any short setups even at the resistance zones, because we may only get some small reactions, and then the market could just continue going higher up near the all-time high. And that's a spot where on first test sellers can be active near the top of this resistance zone and 17.75. So overall, the market is set up for a directional move this morning. If we break below balance, that directional move can take us down to 90.75 to 92.75, potentially lower depending on how weak the market is in real time. And if we hold at the initial support zone and start seeing some buyers step in here, then we can quite easily go back up towards 10.75 to 12 quarter and 14.75 to 16.75. On the econ calendar, we have the PMI manufacturing index out at 8:45 a.m. Central Time, and then the primary catalyst this morning is going to be the ISM manufacturing index at 9 a.m. Central Time. So, given the economic reports this morning, it's unlikely that we're going to liquidate ahead of that. But, if we do start seeing some strong selling below initial support, then, we have to assume that short-term the sell side has taken over and is in control, and trade the market accordingly. But typically when we have some important economic reports out in the morning, you don't really get a big balance breakdown ahead of it. Usually the market will wait for the economic reports and then put in a directional move. But in any case, the market is set up for a directional move. We've seen a contraction in volatility and range over the last few days. We're stuck in a relatively narrow range for the last week. So at this point, the market is definitely getting set up and geared for a decent directional push and a expansion in volatility and range. So that is the context heading into the open. Let's see if the buyers can still hold it together at initial support, and we'll take it from there.